So before the release of Black Ops Cold War, I wanted to recap and take a look at what we know so far about its story, where we finished at the end of Black Ops 4 Zombies and how it ties in and leads in to the Black Ops Cold War storyline. Of course we don't know everything, but from the bits of information that we do have so far about the characters, the Dark Ether, we can get a good idea of how the storyline will begin. So as always, if you're going to enjoy today's video, don't forget to drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, but let's get into this. Here we go, and enjoy. So at the end of Black Ops 4 Zombies, we come to find our Ultimus and Primus characters in the forest. Along with Samantha and Eddie, they gather around the campfire, eating food, drinking wine, but little do they know, apart from Nikolai, that this is their last meal. As a part of resolving the paradox and finally fully breaking the cycle, the characters of Richtof and Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey had to die. And so the crew proceed to celebrate, they eat, they drink. Primus Nikolai explains to them that the Great War, the Apothicons, the Keepers, the Dark Ether, the Shadow Man and Dr. Monty are just legends and tales from the Canorium. After reading it, he reveals that both the Shadow Man and Dr. Monty became corrupted by the Dark Ether, one from his own ambition, and the other desperately trying to save his friend. And as they continue to celebrate into the night, Primus Nikolai tells them to think about what they desired, where they would like to go next. Dempsey and Takeo, thinking that they were finally about to achieve victory, they could soon return to their old lives, their families, their homes, but unbeknownst to them, Nikolai poisoned their drinks. He had to do this, he couldn't tell them that they were going to die because neither Richtofen, Takeo or Dempsey had a soul. So if Nikolai, who was the only one with a soul, told the other characters that they were about to die, there was a chance that they wouldn't go through with it. The Canorium would have told him that they're going to be killed, and so secretly poisoned their drinks because it was the only way to resolve the paradox. Anyway, after drinking it, both the Ultimus and Primus versions of Richtofen, Takeo and Dempsey died, along with the Ultimus version of Nikolai, leaving only the Primus version of Nikolai left. However, the Ultimus version of Richtofen came back to life as Undead Richtofen. Again, Primus Nikolai would have known that Ultimus Richtofen was going to come back as a zombie. The Canorium would have told him this. And so, once Richtofen turned into Undead Richtofen, he then contacted the Victus characters who were inside of their cryogenic pods in Alcatraz. He released them, opened up a pocket dimension to allow them to leave the prison and travel to Tagdo Toten, and told Stuhlinger in his head the plan to build the Orgothan device. And that's exactly what happened. The Victus characters arrived at the facility, they encountered Pablo Marinus, who had been stuck in the lighthouse since 1945, and since he had the plans for the Orgothan device, he assisted Victus in making it. They travelled around Tagdo Toten collecting various different parts and artifacts for him. Some of these items Victus recovered were the Vril device, the Apothicon blood. They also retrieved the elemental shard sent to them by Nikolai, and then they gave all of these pieces to Pablo Marinus, where he activated the Orgothan device. The device then begins to evolve, affecting all of the Element 115 in the area. Primus Nikolai then tells Victus they need to stay close to the device to protect it until it reaches its final state. And once it's charged, Victus returned the Orgothan device to Pablo, who uses it to create a portal in order for him to travel to the Great War. When he arrives there, he helps Primus Richtofen break the cycle. He does this while protecting him in the 1300s from the zombie horde. This gives Great War Richtofen just enough time to activate a teleportation device, allowing him to teleport to Alcatraz. Just before he leaves, Pablo gives him the gem from the Fire Staff, which is the reason why Great War Richtofen has it in Blood of the Dead, so he can rid all of the evil from the island. But once the cycle is broken, Victus then retrieved the Orgothan device and send it back to Primus Nikolai. Now in his hands, Primus Nikolai uses the device to destroy the summoning key, which in turn destroys the multiverse. And with the destruction of the summoning key and all universes, reality collapses. The whole of creation begins to fade away. Everything that spewed forth from the ether is banished to the Dark Ether, including Victus, the Apothicons, the zombies, Dr. Monty, the Shadow Man, Element 115, the zombies maps that we've played in. Everything a part of the zombies multiverse is either destroyed or sent back to the Dark Ether, meaning the only things left are Primus Nikolai, Undead Richtofen, and Samantha and Eddie. In order to fully resolve the paradox and bring things to an end, Primus Nikolai then kills Undead Richtofen, but of course, since he is a part of Primus, he is one of the 4 characters linked to the Ether, he then asks Samantha to kill him, which she does, and now with the death of Primus and Ultimus, the paradox is resolved, leaving Samantha and Eddie to walk off on their own into the light, into a new world, one where no zombies or the influence of the Ether existed. There was no longer a multiverse, just this one world where Samantha and Eddie went off into. And now being trapped in the Dark Ether for some time, Stuhlinger, after not hearing from Richtofen, attempts to contact him. He doesn't know why Richtofen hasn't been in touch. He just all of a sudden vanished. But what he didn't know is that Richtofen was dead.
Is this thing on? Richtofen! Hey, Richtofen! You've been gone from my head a really long time. I gotta be honest, I'm freaking out a bit, man. It's so quiet. I can actually hear myself think. Do you know what that's like? It's not nice at all. So, listen, buddy, old pal, we gotta talk. You sent us here, of all places, but you forgot to tell us what to do. It's dark, it's damp, it's just really filthy. I think the roaches are crawling with roaches. How is that even possible? Wait, shoot. Am I even talking to the right Richtofen? Oh, you could be the other one, right? Or the other one. Yeah, you know what? Just go talk to your Richtofen pals at the hoity-toity Ricky Gang Clubhouse and find out what the we're supposed to be doing.
So that was where Black Ops 4 Zombies ended, but the Ether timeline doesn't finish there. In our next chapter, which is Black Ops Cold War Zombies, this takes place almost 20 years after the events of Tag der Toten, where we are now in this new world where Samantha and Eddie walked off into at the end of Tag der Toten, but we are now 20 years later in the 1980s, where Samantha, who is now in her 30s, thanks to her intelligence, fearlessness and fluency in languages, has a career in covert operations as an agent of the West German BND intelligence agency. It seems while out on a mission, she discovers intel from deep within the KGB. This intel refers back to an old World War II experiment called Project Endstation that took place in the 1940s, where she recovers video footage of something that went down here. She sends the tape to Gregory Weaver, who is the special commanding officer of Requiem, that was a CIA strike team tasked with combating zombie outbreaks around the globe, and when Weaver looks at the tape, they discover Die Maschine, a project built by the Nazis. Its entire purpose, as of this moment, we are not sure of. We know it has something to do with dark powers, specifically the Dark Ether. Maybe the Nazis were attempting to harness its powers, but the tape shows them that something went wrong, a zombie outbreak happened, a cleanup crew was then sent in, and the facility where the machine was located, which is Tag der Toten, it was then abandoned, buried and left forgotten. That was until 2 weeks ago, where it seems we don't know the whole story, but from what I gather, a team called the Omega Group, a mysterious Soviet-led organisation hell-bent on researching the unexplained anomalies manifesting around the world, they discovered Project Endstation and now want to harness its dark power and unleash undead hordes around the globe. So Weaver tells Sam he will send in Team Requiem to deal with it. Samantha says no, she's going rogue. She's going to deal with this herself, of course, because she's dealt with zombie outbreaks in the past as a part of the multiverse. She probably thinks what Weaver is doing is wrong, or she knows a better way. So Samantha goes rogue. Meanwhile, Weaver sends Team Requiem to Die Maschine, which is Tag der Toten. They are there to investigate and stop the zombie outbreak in the facility. But of course we know things aren't going to go as planned. As the team dig deeper and deeper through the facility, they will begin to uncover more World War II experiments done by the Nazis. Group 935, I have a feeling things are only going to get worse. There is the Omega Group trying to harness this power of the Dark Ether, and the Requiem team trying to stop it. But it's not only the Soviets and the Americans, there are other groups, Germans that we'll find along the way, and people who have their own agendas. You might also be wondering, where is Eddie? We haven't heard of him. That's true, he isn't mentioned anywhere. He is in this universe. He arrived here along with Samantha, so he is here. I can guarantee we will be hearing or seeing him, but as of right now, we don't have anything official. So there we go, that is the story so far for Black Ops Cold War Zombies. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. There is only a few days to go now, so I am very excited. Drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye.
You have to turn yourself in. The CIA can protect you. I can protect you.
I can't do that, Weaver. The Omega Group have plans for the outbreak zones. I have to stay in the field.
Sam, please!
I'm sorry. This is the only way.